Hello, everyone. Welcome back into the Couch Experts podcast. I am your co-host, Zane Alley. I'm here with my co-host, Jahmari Moore. Jahmari, another week down. Unfortunately, another University of Wyoming Cowboy football loss. Outside of that, how was your week, buddy?
Man, outside of that, I feel like the week just goes by so fast, man. I just work. I wake up, I go to work, do what I got to do, come home. I might hang out with the missus for a little bit, and then it's back to the same grind. So I think as tiring as it can be, I think that it definitely makes it go by pretty fast. So overall, pretty standard week. What about you?
I was gonna say, same with me, man. I feel like we blink and we're back here for the next episode, but that's
Yeah.
okay. I love fall. I love
hmm
football season. I love all this time. So
Yeah.
the week was good, just staying busy. Yeah, just stuff like that. But we'll go ahead and jump into it, man. Obviously, 31-17 was the score. This was it was a very interesting game.
hmm
I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a frustrating game. So we're going to talk a little bit about UNLV. We're also going to preview San Jose State, and then we'll make sure we get a little bit of our personal banter in there. First thing I want to talk to you a little bit about, Jahmari. When you look at the stats, Wyoming should have won this game pretty handedly. Where we fell apart was on special teams, and this was a special teams unit is not a unit we've ever had to worry about. Not this year, anyway. They've been probably our strongest unit, and
Yeah.
I know you played special teams for the Cowboys. Can you give us a little bit of your insight, kind of what happened, or was it just big change of momentum plays that got the best of them?
Yeah. So here's my POV. First off, I'm located somewhere in Denver, and the weather is relatively nice at this point in time. It's a little cloudy, a little windy, but the temperature's nice. I turn on the television, and you just see all white. You see, what was it? Snow, hail. It had some thunder, some lightning. So right away, with weather, you get all types of snafus. Anything can happen when you get some type of weather. So that's something that plays a significant role with footing, handling the ball, slippage. That's something that's always going to play a big role in any part of the game. But if you all remember, for those of you who have been listening to our previous episodes in you too, Zane, I talked about block punts and them bringing up this weird statistic about the chances of winning a game once you get a punt block. It was around 70-80%, something like that. And once I saw the first one, there's a couple of things that went through my mind. Number one, we got to think about the operation. So when we think about snap operation, we're thinking about how fast is the ball coming out and getting kicked. And I remember in practice, they used to time this. Like they would time the operation where they would have to figure out a certain number that they felt comfortable with the operation. Then is the blocking scheme, right? And usually if you have good spacing up front, then that would then stretch out the guys on the edge and give them a longer distance to cover to block the kick. And the first one told me that maybe punt was something that we hadn't paid attention to that we probably needed to, because any team that you watch, whether it's the pros or it's college, if you see a block kick at all, then there was probably a weakness there to start with that people saw on film and said, hey, we need to exploit this. The special team coordinator somewhere is going to say, hey, we need to exploit this. We need to exploit this play. So that is number one, what I thought, okay, this must have been a problem even before, or maybe they were cutting it close before. And because we've always gotten it off, you're just not thinking about it. So the first kick got blocked. That went through my head. Then the second thing that went through my head was once you get one blocked, then you have that on film. And so the blood is in the water. You know what I mean? So people are going to pull up that film and they're going to say, all right, hey, we got an opportunity to get one. They got two blocked, right? But again, I was just thinking that about the first one. One alone is not good, right? So that was the first thought that came to mind, was that, okay, now people are really going to try to go after it pretty much the rest of the season. Like, you can guarantee most teams that we play at this point, they're going to try to get after that kick. So now, because you have to think about it this way, and people who aren't familiar with this type of special teams play, punt, schematically, you really have maybe 2.5 options here if you're the return team. One option is, hey, we want to go for it and we want to send guys to block it. The con or the downside of that one is you don't set up a strong return. Like, you still need people to block the people running down the field. So if you're going for it, then you don't set up a strong return. You might have a couple of guys that are setting up a return, but you don't have that many because you sent so many guys to block the kick. The second option is, hey, we want to set up a good return. So it's going to be a light rush, and we're going to prioritize gaining yardage after the catch. So that's the second option. And then obviously the half one is we're going to send some guys, but we still want to set up some type of return. So from my understanding, just watching, it was the same two guys off the edge. Both of them got a block and both of them got a touchdown. I think one name was like McGee and another one named, I think Braden or something. I'll have to look up his name. But the second kick, I mean, I just think from like a morale standpoint, I mean, that's tough. As a player, that's tough.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know, man. When I saw that, I'm like, that's not good. So obviously that's going to be a big point of emphasis in practice this week. But clearly there's something that has probably been there for a while. And the special teams coordinator at UNLV said, hey, let's go get it. What were your thoughts when you saw it?
So I thought the same thing as you after the first one. I was like, okay, it's snowy, it's icy, but the first play of the game was a flea flicker attempt by UNLV, and they immediately dropped the ball, and we were able to recover.
Yeah.
And so we had the crowd with us, the energy was with us, and it felt like after block punt, scoop and score in the first quarter, it just immediately took the energy out of the room.
Yeah.
And I could feel it from my TV. I was like, oh boy, like we might not be in a good spot right here. And it kind of showed. Now, if you look at special teams in general, like I said, we've never really had an issue. So I think you're right. This coaching staff for UNLV, they're a good staff. Obviously, their head coach was at Florida before he was at UNLV, and then he was an ESPN analyst. Like, this is not. He's a blue chip coach. Like, he's
Right.
got some pedigree. He's coached some guys, and so he's gonna know how to exploit things maybe we're not used to. And I think you're right. I guarantee you, he saw something on film, or somebody on his staff saw something on film, and they were able to exploit it. I don't know. The second half, again, we came out hot. The first scripted drive of the game, we looked fantastic. We put together plays, and then we marched down and scored. And then again, we had the block punt, scoop and score, and they took the lead right back. And again, it just felt like every time we built up momentum, something shot us in the foot, and that's just kind of how it felt. We just were never able to recover from it. Because if you look at the stats, Caden Anderson was 25 of 46, 254 yards. He had a touchdown. He had a pick. The one thing I'll say about the pick, he did his 3-step drop. He took one look at one wide receiver and just threw it. I felt like he knew where he was going to go before he even snapped the ball, which is not something I've ever seen from Caden Anderson. So I don't want to knock him for that, because he actually, if you look at the stats, he put up a lot of yards. I can't remember the last time Wyoming tried to throw for 46 attempts. But I don't know. What were your thoughts on the offense as a whole?
Offensively, shooting ourselves in the foot, that's been the theme of this season. I think offensively, we've been saying that even in wins, that we've been shooting ourselves in the foot. We've outgained them, I think, by like 101 yards. So when you incorporate turnovers in those mistakes, and obviously special teams, that shows you what we talk about each week is that margin for error. We talk about it every week. Margin for error is slim, right? We talk about it every week. And so, I mean, we just have to be more disciplined in not making these mistakes.
Yeah, what's up? Does that come back on coaching? Does that come on players? Is that a little bit of both? Like what
Man,
at a
yeah.
certain point you got to say, "Man, we're just beating ourselves." We beat UNLV. If you look at the stats, we beat them, but we beat ourselves.
If you didn't watch the game and you just looked at the stats, you'd be confused like what happened. I agree,
Mhm.
but to answer your question, man, I feel like it's a little bit of both. I just think
Okay.
the duration of how long it goes for, then it changes, right? Because on
Mhm.
one end, if it keeps happening, coaches, number one, are going to have to figure out somebody else that won't jump. The hard part with that is, as a player, that's one of the things you can control. You can control
Yep.
staying on sides. Obviously, there's certain penalties where it's a toss up, like a holding. Like there's a lot of times they don't call it, and then there's other times that they do. So I mean, things like that are toss up, but false start. Like I mean, there's that, and then also just being able to capitalize when other teams make mistakes, right? Like I think that's just the other thing is how opportunistic are we. Um, so I think that there's some good things, obviously, that we're moving the ball. We're finding ways to move the ball. I don't think we want to live in a place where we're pass first. And I'm not saying it like my opinion. I think just general philosophy. Establishing a run is really important. But
Especially in that weather.
yeah, and that so then it goes back to that, right? So that's the other hard part. Again, the weather is an element that should somewhat be an equalizer. It should be something that somewhat evens the playing fields or even the odds because both players or both teams, excuse me, they have to deal with the weather. They got to deal with all that. It's not fun, man. It's uncomfortable. It's cold. You got to stay warm on the sideline. I mean, your footing is off when you hit the ground. It's a lot harder. It might take a little longer to get warmed up. And then if you're somebody that really doesn't like the cold, it becomes a mental barrier too. So if you're somebody that really is annoyed by the cold or temperature, because I know a lot of people who play who hate the cold. They hate it. And that becomes another mental barrier. But obviously, it being Vegas, you would think you'd have the advantage in that situation. But there's a lot of teams that I've played where they're coming to send a message and they want to let you know that they're not concerned about the weather. And that's what I saw from
Well, and
them. I feel like they fought.
I feel like UNLV did a better job of showing it than Wyoming did. Like
Yeah.
I felt like UNLV was like, we're not going to be bothered by the cold. Outside of the first play of the game, they look good.
Mm-hmm.
Jahmari, one thing I wanted to bring to your attention: do you know how many times we've punted this year?
How many times have we punted?
Now we've played good teams,
We
so
played a
we've got
good
to take it with
team.
a grain of salt.
Man, how many times have we punted? I want to say, and I'm just throwing up a random number here, but we've punted. This is week 7, but we've played 6 games, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we
Yeah,
played
right.
6
We
games.
played 6 games, so
I
I would
believe
say
so.
maybe.
God, I'm losing track already.
So between week 6 and 7, I would have to say we punted, and I don't know the correct answer here, but I would say we punted maybe 27 times.
We've punted 26 times.
Oh my god! Oh my god! I
The
was so close.
next,
I was so
that
close.
was a great guess, man.
Oh man,
We
that was good.
punted
Okay,
26 times.
okay,
The next
that's tough.
closest team is Fresno State at 17. San Jose has only punted. Oh, excuse me, they're not in order. Let me get it filtered by
They're
order.
not in order. Okay.
Utah State has punted one more than us, but San Jose State has only punted 17 times. We
Uh.
are second to last in the Mountain West.
Ugh.
We punt the second most times. So when you look at our offensive stats, to me it paints a picture. We can move the ball in spurts, but we can never finish. And I feel like that's been consistent, like with the games that we've talked about. We'll get downfield and maybe get into field goal territory, but it feels like we just get close enough to that field goal territory where we're like, maybe we need to punt, maybe we can't.
Mm.
And I'm wondering maybe the reason UNLV had so much film on punting is because we're doing it so often. But I just
That's
wanted
a
to bring
good.
that
That's a good
statistic
call
up
out.
to
We had
you.
a lot of punts on film. I mean, to your point, right? If you aren't punting as much, then excuse me, then there's not going to be a ton of film. And there's also keys. We used to, excuse me, we used to talk about keys a lot when we were playing. And what I mean by a key, for those of you who don't know, there's usually this small indicator or thing that a team does that lets you know something's about to happen. And if you can identify it and find it, then you pay attention to that key, and that key will tell you what play's coming or when a play is coming. So, for instance, a key could be when a snapper puts his head down right before he snaps, or a hand signal the personal protector gives right before kicks. So it gets some type of tendency or key. And if it's like a routine and something you're practicing pretty frequently, unknowingly, you will give a team kind of the key or when something's coming. So I'm also interested in, because like what you said, we got a lot of punts on film, that gives you a larger sample size to work with to identify a key. Because then if you look at all 26 of those punts, you're like, hey, I noticed in all 26 of these, or majority of these, this guy's doing this. And so that's when we know that a certain play is coming. And so the reason why that's important in the context of punting is because if you know when the ball is actually going to be snapped, you can anticipate and time your get off. Then basically you can have a perfect time get off where you can block the kick like we've seen. So if there's a certain key that we have, I mean, them being able to get off extremely well because I'm pretty sure they came from the edges. Usually it's like not the direct middle, but it's usually like the C gap or B gap or whatever. That's like usually the most vulnerable points, because it's closer, but you have speedy guys in the middle. You can congest it up. You can mix it up and cause some disruption in the middle. But those edges and like the next one in are usually going to be teams' weak points. But they were able to get great get offs to the point where they had 2 block punts. So to see 2 in one game, yeah.
I was looking at their blocked punts. They have only 2 on the season, so they had never gotten one. We had 4. We just gave them their first 2. Yeah,
2 in one game.
We had a tendency or a key or something. You're absolutely right. And I'm sure they'll get it fixed. It just sucks that in the moment we didn't know it was coming, and that's something you're going to pay for. But Wyoming's got 4 blocked punts, so obviously we're keying in on other guys. It goes both ways. So from a rushing standpoint and a receiving standpoint, we had a ton of guys catch the ball. It was insane. I think there was like at one point on the TV, it said like 20 guys had caught a ball. Maybe not that many, but it was a lot. What did you see rushing? What did you see passing? As far as a rushing attack, when they finally went to Sam Scott, I saw us able to move the ball. I saw us able to do some stuff, but I won't lie, man, it looked a little bit like, and I don't want to obviously call the kid out. I'm not trying to be malicious, but it just felt like Toad Harris was not loving the cold, man. I think you might have been onto something with that.
He was ready to pack it up, huh?
I was gonna say on his carries, he did not look the same at all. He did not look the same at all. So,
hey,
but they also might have just been keyed in on him. I don't know.
To give him the benefit of the doubt, he could be working through an injury or something people don't know about, or bumps or bruises. But like, there's always a thing. But man, that cold. Hey man, it's a real thing, man. People don't like it. I mean, to be fair, it's tough, man, playing in those conditions, because one, you're more prone to injury in that environment, more prone to sickness. Like, it's just
it hurts.
It hurts
more too.
Yeah. So,
oh my gosh.
But that's what you sign up for when you go to Wyoming. So that's what you sign up for. Yep. And I think that the stat that tells me a lot right in that is the amount, because I'm pretty sure as far as pass attempts, and I'll have to fact check this, but I think the most pass attempts I've seen us have in a long time. At least it felt that 46 way. Is a lot. Like 46 is a lot, yeah. And again, watching the game versus the stats, like the stats are important, but when you get a feel for the game, it felt like we were always in some type of catch up, or at least the vibe was like, hey, we need to get it all back soon. And so I think that having multiple people getting involved is really just a product of, hey, we need somebody that's going to make a play. We need somebody that's going to help us finish. And I think when you're able to spread the ball around like that, I think that is a good sign that you like. It's hard, man, because we're doing a lot of good stuff, but I mean, when you talk about you looking at
I
this,
was just saying, man, to me, it's so frustrating because we're doing to me, it's so frustrating because we're doing so many things well, and we can't finish. And I don't know what it is that's not letting us get over that hump. I don't know what it is that's just the second we get onto their side of the field, like we have drives, that first scripted drive out of the second half, we looked amazing. We marched down the field, we went up tempo offense, we completed passes, and we got into the end zone. The next drive down, we did the same thing, but then Evan Svoboda got a pass interference call, brought the pass back, and then Caden Anderson threw the interception on the next play. After that, it felt like the game was over. It felt like the second we threw that pick and we had the second scoop and score, we were done. And don't get me wrong, the team did not give up. I'm not saying the team gave up at all. It just felt like, again, all the energy came out of the room and they were fighting an uphill battle. The team never quit, though, for sure.
No, I'm with you. And I think with that, right, with the offense specifically, I think we're at the point now where we have to tie it all together, because moving the ball is one thing, but if we can't be efficient in the red zone or in third down situations, right? Or even when you think about the penalties, right? Because I guarantee you, if we were in more short yardage situations or we were moving the ball and then if we didn't convert on third down, but it's like a 4th and 1, I feel like we'll go for it or have a good chance to keep the offense on the field. But if we're now starting 1st and 15 or 2nd and 22, if we're in these situations, coaches don't have a ton of plays for that type of situation. The coaches aren't drawing up plays. All right, hey, if we're 2nd and 25 or 3rd and 18, like you don't have plays scripted for that or drawn up for that. So there's only so much. You have to get super creative on, well, what are we trying to accomplish at this point? Do we want to actually convert? Or do we want to get a couple yards so we're in better punting position? So if people ever wonder, damn, it's 3rd and 24, why are they running the ball or a short route? Maybe they're just like, look, we can't convert, but at least if we get a little closer, we'll be able to be in a position to have a better punt, basically. I mean, finishing, man, like I think we got to be able to finish at the end of the day. We have to be more efficient on converting downs. We have to be more efficient with red zone. Because again, we're just not finishing and we're not tying it together, or we take a step forward and take 2 back. We get in our own way. And I think it's hard because, like you said earlier, a lot of guys are catching the rock and we're moving the ball, which we've struggled with, but we're not tying it together. We're losing the turnover margin. We're, again, still having these penalties that make it just that much harder. So, yeah, man, I don't know. It's frustrating.
I agree. Third down conversion rate, we're currently 9th in the Mountain West, 35.82%. UNLV is at 49.18%. And I'll tell you what, we kept them in check all night, especially on third down, and I was really impressed with defense. Until the fourth quarter, you saw a little light bulb go off on their offense when their quarterback started to take off and run. He got that first down, and it was actually pretty easy. And you saw that light bulb go off, and he was like, hey, these guys are buttoning everything up but me. And that's when he started to go crazy. That's when every third down just turned into a quarterback rush. After they figured that out, too, that's when we were kind of like, okay, now we might be in a little bit of an issue defensively. And this is the third game in a row. Utah, Colorado, and now UNLV, we have struggled a little bit with mobile quarterbacks, which don't get me wrong, mobile quarterbacks are hard to cover. But it's, again, I think it comes back to a philosophy, a coaching adjustment that we're going to have to make moving forward. Hey, we're strong everywhere, but here, how do we kind of clean this up going forward? Do you have anything maybe you think they might try to try to address that with?
My thing is well, first off, like you said, just a mobile quarterback, dual threat quarterback is always going to give you trouble. So that's something that's always going to be hard because even if you have somebody spy the quarterback, you're taking that defender away from some type of you're taking it away from some type of like pass
Like an
scheme or
assignment
coverage. Yeah,
or
like you're
yeah.
changing you're changing an assignment. So I think that is hard, but when you actually watch the game, there's opportunities to actually make a play. There's opportunities to actually
Mm-hmm.
tackle the quarterback, but I think when I was watching, we were a little slow to shed off blocks.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, arm tackles aren't going to do it at any level. So I
No.
think when they go forward, they have to be able to get off blocks a little sooner and being able to communicate so they can switch responsibilities a little faster.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be tough, right? Because if we're doing a lot of man, see you, quarterback's gone. So
Yeah.
zone coverage is usually something where you have those defenders that can be a little bit more involved. So,
Mm-hmm.
but it's tough, right? Because you got to be able to play zone in, man. So I think that
I was
at
gonna say,
least,
but then in zone, you start burning clock, and we were already down, right? So now you're running into all sorts of issues.
yeah, I think we're in positions to make plays and down a quarterback, but we got to be able to get off blocks and finish those plays. I think that's just the bottom line. Just because I've seen it and you've seen it a lot too, where we might have the perfect play call, but we don't finish a tackle or we slip off or something. So,
Mm-hmm.
and we're usually right there. Like what you probably, I mean, a lot of people, you all listeners, you don't see too many busted coverages. Like just nobody there,
No.
nobody around. There's nobody in the area. You rarely see that. Those guys are dialed in, but we got to finish the plays.
Well, and I think that's why we're starting to see teams just trying to run on us with their quarterback because there is nowhere for him to go. We button up the run
Mm-hmm.
game, we button up the passing game, and then they say, all right, well, this is about the only thing they're leaving me. And
Yeah.
so, no, Calandria, there was more than one rush where it was almost a tackle for loss or
Mm-hmm.
it was almost a sack, and we just couldn't get off the
Couldn't get
block,
him.
like you
Yeah.
said, or finish it.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's see here. Let's anything more you want to say about UNLV, man? I mean, fans, we're gonna move on. You guys move on. At the end of the day, UNLV is 5-0 for a reason. They're a good football team. We knew they were going to be a good football team. I will say this. You take away those special teams plays, Wyoming not only wins this game, I think we win it handedly.
Mm-hmm.
It just came down to those sudden changes in momentum plays.
Mm-hmm.
And so I personally, that's what I think. I don't think UNLV is the best team in the Mountain West,
Right.
but that's just my thought. Obviously, maybe I'm just being a sore loser, but I don't think they are. Do you have any last thoughts
Yeah.
on UNLV?
Hey, man. The 24 hours. We used to have this deal after a tough loss or just any loss. Coach Ball would tell us, "Hey, take the next 24 hours to lick your wounds. Feel sorry for yourself. Do all that, but after those 24 hours are up, we got to move on, like you said." So for me,
Yep.
I'm really interested to see how we bounce back against San Jose State. Um, Mountain West matchup. What are some of your thoughts just of us moving into some more Mountain West play?
So I actually got to watch San Jose play against New Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
and I do think they are truly one of the better teams in the Mountain West this year, which is weird to say about San Jose. I'm not used to
Yeah.
saying that about San Jose State. But if I'm not mistaken, their record isn't all that good.
you see it on
Let's see,
you
they're
see it on
two and
tape.
three.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're 2-3, but right now they're averaging 23 points per game. They are allowing 28. Where San Jose is really really good though is through passing. Right
Mm-hmm.
now they're fourth in yards per play, but their quarterback, if I can find my stats from
Mm-hmm.
earlier, he is putting up over 302 yards per game.
Mm-hmm.
So they really depend on the passing game. They're somebody we're gonna have to keep an eye on. I will say he's not a mobile quarterback, so maybe that'll work to
Yeah,
our advantage.
little
But
pocket
what are you
passer.
seeing from San Jose?
Well, number one, when I think of San Jose, I'm hoping that weather altitude plays a role in that. Man, one of my first times going to San Jose, it was probably one of the hottest games I've ever played in. One of the hottest games I ever played in. Like I remember when we were in the locker room, we would have this like we have these small cups of ice and I would blow into the cup so that the cold air from like my breath
Cold
when
air
eyes would come up.
would come down to you. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so man, I'm hoping that that plays a role number one. That was always my thought when I first started playing in Wyoming was that I always felt like the altitude and the weather would play a big role. But man, I mean, a lot of guys come up there, a lot of teams come up there and they don't shy away. They don't. I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty sure and this is a home game, right? I'm looking at the right thing.
Yeah, we're in
Okay,
Laramie.
we're back in
Yeah,
Laramie,
we're
right?
in
So,
Laramie.
yeah,
Yep.
I think that you would hope that plays a role number one. I think number two, just with them not with their defense not being as stout, they're kind of there's like some similarities or some parallels there with us on the side of they have a good offense, but they can't tie all the things together. Uh,
Hmm.
what I see though, just looking into, I see a pretty good opportunity for us to bounce back here. I think it would be probably a tight win because, like you said, those guys are pretty athletic. I know the quarterback isn't as mobile as we've seen this week, but um, they're planning on scoring a lot of points, or at least they want to, and I think that we match up pretty well against them. But man, special teams. I haven't watched too much of their special teams or anything like that, but just after having two blocks, man, that's number one for me. I'm still thinking about it. I couldn't believe it. In my head, when I was watching the game, this is after the first one, and I'm just looking like, okay, they just had one. There's no way that they're going to do it again. I'm like, they must have made an adjustment. And then sure enough, they block it again. So, I
No.
mean, I don't know if I've seen that in like a live game before 2-1. I don't know if you've seen it, but we have to fix that because like I said earlier, if a coach wouldn't say, hey, let's go for it, if they didn't feel like there was an opportunity to block it, if they didn't feel like it was an
Hmm.
opportunity to block it, they would have probably said, hey, let's set up a good return. Like, hey, they have good protection, but they don't have a good coverage. They don't have good kickoff coverage or punt coverage. Because if you think about it, if you spend all your time blocking and you're staying in and you're not getting out early, then that takes away from the coverage. You know what I mean? That takes away
Yep.
from now
Yep.
covering the field and covering the returner. So they're like, oh, let's set up a good return. They're good at blocking, but we'll set up a good return. But they clearly saw something where they said, hey, we need to get after it. So that's something that I think is my biggest concern, honestly, which again is crazy to think because all these past weeks we haven't been thinking about it. But now we're at a point where we're like, okay, that needs to get better. I think that but looking at San Jose State again, I think that they will compete. They're not going to lay down and not going to give us nothing. And in fact, I probably think even though um, the record doesn't like really suggest it, I think they're thinking, "Hey, we're gonna get one. We're gonna bounce back here." So, yeah, I think we need to make sure that we. Coach Bowl used to say, "Get your stingers ready." Got to get our stingers ready because I don't think they're laying down at all. And I definitely think that they're going to try to send everybody to get
Yeah.
that punt because you got to think when you look back at the UNLV game, it wasn't the biggest rush. It was really mostly edge pressure. Like it was some stuff in the middle, but it wasn't like this all out. You had 4 or 5 guys back there,
Hmm.
so I definitely think that they're going to have their ears pent back and they're going to try to get after this one. But yeah, I don't know. I think that we need to be able to sustain drives, right, and not get any. We don't want to have these like empty yards. That's just kind of my thoughts, man. Going into this game, we gotta make sure we're fixing these issues. What do you got, man, going into this game?
So right now turnover margin, they're -2, we're -1, so
Mm-hmm.
they don't create as many turnovers as we do, which is good. But like you said, they're going to be teeing off on punts. So we're obviously, I'm hoping our special teams coordinator or special teams coach, he's going to go back and say, all right, what was the tendency? Where's the key? What happened? My guess is they get it buttoned up because, like you said, 2 punts in a game doesn't happen often. So I'm sure that's something that's going to be highlighted. Third
Mm-hmm.
down efficiency, San Jose State is fourth. So they do a good job converting on third downs. So we're going to have to stay on them, try to put them in long yardage situations. But like I said, they love to pass. I think our secondary is going to be tested. Our secondary is going to be tested, but here's what I'll tell you. If you go by the statistics as passes defended, Wyoming is currently, we're sixth in the Mountain West. We do a pretty good job at defending the pass. We're pretty much middle of the pack there.
Mm-hmm.
We don't give up a ton passing. Obviously, we played some good offenses. We played Utah. We played Colorado, who had some explosive plays on us. But UNLV could not get a lot going, and I
Mm-hmm.
think San Jose State, they're not Utah. I think we're going to be able to come after them a lot more at the same level, and I
Mm-hmm.
think we're going to be able to put some pressure on them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like you said, we need to win special teams and we need to avoid errors. We need to get pressure on the quarterback, and like you said, we need to be able to establish the run.
Mm-hmm.
If we can do that, I think we're going to be okay. Um, Anything else? What's kind of your key to the game? I know I just knocked out a few of the top ones, but what's the one key to the game you've got?
If I had to have one key to the game that wasn't related to special teams, I think we need to create some explosive plays early with our offense. When you look back at
Yeah.
that game, like you have to understand that when you first go into a game, you don't really know. Like at this point in the season, you have a good idea on what style or what they're trying to do offensively, what type of players they have, but you still don't. They can still change anything at any given time. So when you start the game off fast, I mean that gives you more time to, like, you only get so much time to score points. When you look at the breakdown of the score, they got 17 points. Well, going back to UNLV, 17 points in the first quarter, right? But
Mm-hmm.
after that, it slowed down. I don't think they scored any in the second, if I'm remembering correctly, and then they scored one in the third and one in the fourth. But if you take
Mm-hmm.
away or revise that first quarter, we win that game. So I think we just need to have
Mm-hmm.
a fast start offensively. I'm not like, I do think the defense will be tested, but I don't think, like, again, they have to obviously execute at the top end of plays and finish plays, but those guys communicate on defense, those guys fly around, and they're usually in the right spot. I think that's like important,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like when you see somebody catch a ball or something, it's not like somebody's wide open. There's nobody within 5 yards of them. So I think we need to start fast, man. I think we need to start a lot faster, and we need to be explosive to start, because adjustments will be made on both sides. And, it gets harder the second half of game once those adjustments go in. I mean, it's pretty intense, man. Like halftime, I can remember you'll go in, we'll sit down, and we'll sit with our position group. We'll sit with our position group for a little bit, and we might talk as players what's going on, or we might communicate with other position groups. And then after like maybe 5 or 6 minutes, the coaches roll in, and it's intense. They will go in there, they get to their group, they got the whiteboards. Hey, here's what they're doing here. Like I've seen it, man, where plays have been drawn up out of the dirt. Hey, we thought they were going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
They're really doing this. So, hey, we're going to change all of this. Here's where I want you. Here's what, like, so we have to have a fast start. That's my key to the game. We have to have a fast start. If we have a fast start again and sustaining drives, and finishing with touchdowns, not just field goals. If we can start fast and continue that momentum, because I think what happens is that we start fast in a lot of these games, and then one small thing happens, and then we don't have that momentum. Like if you look back at a lot of these games, like there's a lot of games where we've like moved the ball or had explosive play, but then a penalty or drop ball or something, like it's something that trips us up, and then we're not able to recover. We need to be able to just start fast and be consistent early on, because when we go deeper into the game, it's going to be harder to get those, but there's not as much time as it was when the game first started. So that's my key, man. We need to have a fast start. We need to have a fast start offensively. I think if we have a fast start, then we have a good chance of winning the game. So that's where I'm at. Do you have any predictions, by the way, like just score predictions?
So, score wise, it comes back to what you said, and I wanted to piggyback off of what you said, and the fact that when we script drives, like when
Mm-hmm.
you see our team come out right there in the first quarter or in the second
Mm-hmm.
half, and they say, "Hey, we're going to run these plays. I think this is going to work."
Mm-hmm.
Dude, the team, that's the best when the team looks that way. It's when we're improvising, we start to struggle. However, if we had a good drive before we start improvising, I've noticed this is a different team. Like if we can just build confidence and maintain confidence,
Mm-hmm.
I think this team is going to be so good. It's just got to be that. If I had to predict a score, I'm gonna go. Obviously, I got to go with a Wyoming win. At this point, I'm going 0-3 in the last 3 weeks, so we're gonna keep saying Wyoming's going to win. I think Wyoming will win. I think as long as we defend the pass, we maintain drives, we do everything we just talked about, and we just have fun and maintain confidence. This is a game that we can win. I'm gonna go with the elements are working against San Jose, and I think they're going to have a rough game. I think we're going to button up the pass with a pocket passing quarterback. I'm going to say we beat them, not by a little bit, by a lot. I'm going to go 28-14 Wyoming.
Okay. I like the prediction. Um, I'm at the point where, listen, if I'm seeing the same things and I don't see things changing, then, maybe it's gonna be like I don't know. Like I think it went back to something we talked about earlier with whether it's the player or the coach, and I don't really know. But what I'll say is with the prediction that I have for this game, I think it's going to be tight, man. Like I think it's really a toss up, because I think right now, there's things that's consistently happening that can create doubt, and you would hope that there's maturity and that there's a level of understanding that, hey, like we still are in control of our destiny at this point. But I think it's going to be close. I think if I go Wyoming, it's going to be like a 24-20, something close like that.
Gonna be
24-20
tight.
Wyoming.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close game,
Okay.
because the part that we're also not seeing, like we're not seeing complementary football on a consistent basis. Like
Not
we
at all.
have some
We keep
pieces that
shooting
are
ourselves in the
working,
foot.
yeah, and we're seeing some parts work like individually, but we're not seeing it work to the point where it's servicing or helping a different side of the football. So I think it's going to be tight. I need to see some more consistency from the team in general, for it to be less of a toss up in my mind. But I do think that we can pull it out. The home advantage is going to be really critical. Our fans are always going out. It was almost like 20,000, I think, at the last ones. I think that's going to be something that helps us, man. So that's just where I'm at with the predictions is 24-20 YO. Close one, but they gotta show me a little something.
Well, and I'm with you, man. If you look back to like Wyoming versus Akron, we won 10-0. The offense did not win that game, right? It was defense and special teams that won that game.
Right.
Northern Iowa, that was our probably most complete game against a team that we should have had a complete game against. Utah, we lost 31-6. The offense couldn't get going. Special teams did okay. Defense was the main thing that kept us in that game all the way through 2.5 quarters.
Right.
That Wyoming versus Colorado, the offense actually got going a little bit. Defense struggled tremendously. And so it just seems like every game something's just a little off. And so I think you're right. If until we show a little bit of consistency, it's probably going to be close. I'm just hoping 28-14 Wyoming finally buttons everything up. Fingers crossed. Let's see here. Anything else you want to add about San Jose State? It's in Laramie. What time is that game going to be at? 7 p.m. So 7 p.m. my time, I was assuming. So it's going to be 5 p.m. for you guys. We'll see if weather's a factor. Are you guys getting cold in Denver?
It's the weather's dropping slightly, but it's nothing. It's not super significant. It's like this week it's gonna be in like the 50s or 60s, mostly 60s. Maybe one day that's 70. So it's not. The weather hasn't completely dropped on us just yet, but it's getting close though. I'm seeing a shift. So.
Anything else you want to add about San Jose State?
Nah, man. I just think that we need to be able to, one, just make sure we clean up special teams, but then we need to have a fast start, man. And I don't mean just one drive. I mean a couple of good drives.
Finish drives.
Yeah.
Sustained drive.
We need to have a strong first quarter. I think that's what it is. We need to have a strong first quarter.
Yeah. So I would rather go, well, no, maybe I wouldn't say that because it's not complimentary football. I'd rather have like one or two sustained drives where we score versus we've had a lot of drives where we get 2 or 3 first downs and then we punt. Like that to me is, again, it's not complimentary. So let's jump over to couch question of the week, man. I've got kind of a random one for you. And I was just thinking about this one yesterday. If I told you you're Tom Berman. You're now the athletic director at the University of Wyoming.
Shout out to Tom.
You've got to hire a brand new head coach for the football team.
Okay.
But your only stipulation is you cannot hire them based on, or how do I put this? You can only hire people that are not like coaches. So what I mean by that is you have to hire somebody based off of another profession to do the best job that they can possibly do. What profession are you picking?
Giving Ted Lasso, huh?
I was going to see where you were going to go with
Lasso. Yeah, based off our last conversation. So just to clarify, it's a different, like I have to pick from a different sport altogether, or it can just be.
Well, let's do. But I was going to make you pick a whole profession. I wasn't even going to let you pick a coach.
So not even. Like career. Okay. Got you.
Okay. So, yeah, but we can do both. I want to get your other opinion after.
Jeez. Okay, a whole profession. So then,
so like no coaching. Who would you, if you had to just go based off of another career? Who do you think would be the best head coach?
To be honest, I'll go like a lieutenant. I'll go a lieutenant and go military.
Go like somebody military.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of parallels with military and college sports for sure, especially football. So I would definitely go lieutenant. What about you?
I was gonna go like first responders.
Okay,
same kind of the same thing as you as well. As like they've kind of got that team atmosphere and got to be able to coordinate things and stuff like that. I kind of like where you're at. If I made you do a sport that it couldn't be football, who you going with?
Shoot, if I was to do a different sport though, I would probably do. It's close, but I gotta go rugby. I
was gonna say
rugby.
I think rugby would be a good one. I think I would have to go rugby as well.
Yeah,
I think I'd have to go rugby as well.
Yeah, I think that's a good one.
If not rugby, maybe like basketball. I don't know. It'd be tough. There's not many parallels there though, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, rugby I think is a safe choice.
Yeah. You still got the running, the tackling. You still got a lot of the same team mentalities. Although that's a lot more cardio. Let me ask you this, Jahmari. You play any rugby?
So I haven't played any personally. Like professionally, I've played a little bit. My some of my boys, Cash Malawiu, Nella, Elijah, even Tyree at some point. We did some rugby. Like Cash obviously and Nella obviously they like play for real. But I played a little bit with them out here. And it's really fun. It's just if you don't have a lot of people, it's pretty brutal.
Oh yeah.
What about 100%.
you? No. I had a couple buddies that did it intramurals, and they were
Mm.
like, they were big guys. Like these were guys like your size, and they were saying, "Hey, you should come play with us on the rugby team." I'm looking at them like, I don't want to die. Like I'm not doing that. Get
I
out of
got
here.
you.
So
Yeah.
yeah. I think that pretty much. I think that's pretty much it, man. You want to close us out?
Well, yeah. Appreciate everybody that's listening to this point. We're all hoping for a dub this weekend, and nothing like we saw. I mean, some good things last week, but we got to tie it all together. I think we're saying a lot of the same stuff now. So, yeah, I appreciate everybody. Hopefully, you all stay safe this week. Zane, you got anything else for us?
Nope. Kind of like he said. Hopefully, we get a nice win against San Jose. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Like, subscribe, share, do all the things.
All right. Well, with that being said, hey, go Pokes, everybody. See
Go
you guys
Pokes.
next
We
week.
appreciate you guys.
All right. Peace out.